morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Thursday. I can't believe it. It's November 20th, and we need to talk all things Brian Walshe. It has been a minute, and we haven't really talked about this case in the way that we're going to talk about this case today, because we have talked about all of the discovery to the side of the Brian Walshe case. We've talked about the proctor of it all. We've talked about it being combined with other cases. And I've mentioned the fact that this case is getting ready to go to trial, but we have not really done a dive into the Brian Walshe case just yet. Well, that changes today. We're going to take a look at an overview of the allegations. We're going to take a look at what happened in court as jury selection was getting underway. They almost have a jury in this case, and it looks like it is just speeding towards trial. But I got a ton of questions about, well, him taking a plea. Like, why are we taking a plea as like a jury's ready to walk in the door? And I've had that happen in my cases before. I have some thoughts about it. We're going to watch that together. We're going to talk about the plea. We're going to do all the things. So today we are going to be going to live court. Though on the delay, we're going to be doing replay court, and we're going to talk about why he might have pled, what those charges are. We're going to look at a few articles with some overviews. You're also going to hear the DAs take more of a factual basis. So we're going to go through all of that. Alice said, I heard it wasn't a plea. It was a change of plea. And Sentient Sai said, wait, there's a plea? He did absolutely plea. So he pled to 2 counts. We're going to talk about that. So yes, there was a plea in this case and a change of plea in this case, but he's still going to trial for murder. So that's really the heart of the thing. I am going to talk about the trial. I have to look at my calendar and this trial calendar. I really honestly wasn't sure it was going to start on time. So this trial now looks like it's starting on time. So now we need to take a look at my calendar, that calendar. So we are going to talk about all of that. So let's see. We're going to talk about that. Sandra, when did the change of plea come in? Well, as the jury was walking in the door. So we're going to be talking about that too. I mean, they weren't literally, like, the jury's waiting outside and he's like, we're going to take a plea. We're going to take a plea. We're going to just plea. So Wolf Kiara said, wait, a trial anyway? Yes. See? Lots and lots of questions about this case. And that's why we're covering it today, because there are lots of questions. There is some confusion, and you guys we've followed the discovery in this case, but we haven't really followed the day-to-day of this case. I am going in with very minimal knowledge of this case. We're going to do a quick road so far. We're going to look at an article, and then we're going to go to court. And this is court from the 18th. So just 2 days ago, right? So that is what we're doing today. So let's roll the intro. We've got some other stuff to talk about. Oh, I'm going to cough. It's going to be like that. I'm not as congested as I was yesterday, but we've still got stuff going on, and we'll have to talk about this new hat. You guys have some questions. We'll talk about the new hat. We'll talk about the new hat. I promise. Let's roll the intro. We've got lots to do today. Emily, put your sound in the right place. It's because I was prepping last night late and I forgot to do it and put the sound back in the right place. I mean, this is our intro now. Emily, have you recovered from BravoCon? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Hey there, I'm lawyer and legal analyst Emily D. Baker, and this is your go-to destination for live court coverage. I break down the law, the strategy, and the evidence in real time, so you know what's happening. No law degree required. So join the law nerds in the chat. They're here for the facts, not and let's get to court.
I still love the intro music. It came from the original Emily Show podcast that went by multiple other names in the past, but that original music was written for the Get Legit Launch It podcast that launched in 2019 in November. I can't believe we are so far past it. A number of you are asking about nail polish. Don't worry, I'm going to keep it until we get to Q&A. For those of you in the app and for those of you that are members, you would have already gotten your notification about our new Black on Black. It is our last launch of the year. We've definitely got some more coming in 2026, but we have had so much going on this year. Trust that this is our last launch of the year. So if you are interested in any of the EDB, now is the time. We have hoodies back right now. We have two. We have a very heavy duty zip up hoodie, and we have the lighter weight pullover. The pullovers and I Have Questions hoodie, everything's black on black. So you, in person, you can see the I Have Questions a little more, but we are full like blackout, black on black. But this is our I Have Questions. I'll show you real quick. The store is live now. If there is something you want, I cannot guarantee it will be there by the end of stream because app gets priority and our members get priority. So by the time we get to stream, there are things sometimes that aren't still there. We also did our coffee tumbler. I really love this coffee tumbler. I've been using it. I love it. It's just, Emily, it's still wet from you washing it. Yeah, I didn't want my lippies to be all over it when I showed it to you guys on screen because I've been using it. So this is our coffee tumbler. I love it. We've got our I Have Questions, black on black, our black on black facts hat. It is, look, I love all of our launches. I really do. I resonate deeply with the all black, and you will see this, it's maybe a little too black in our header for me to show you well on screen, but this is our parental advisory because we have our Facts Not Fuckery merch back. Our t-shirts say Facts Not Fuckery on the front. The zip up says Facts Not Fuckery on the front. The black on black hat says facts on the front. It says not fuckery in the back. It's incredibly subtle on the back, but it's there. Another day we'll talk about these stickers, but we have some, not very many, but some stickers left in the shop at the moment. And then we have the I Have Questions hoodie with our big spicy skull on the back. So this is very much a rock it out kind of a launch. I love it. This hoodie, heavy duty. The pullover hoodie, not the zip up, is a lighter weight. It is our oversized drop shoulder hoodie that you've seen in other launches in other colors. We have not done one in black, but that's our big oversized drop shoulder hoodie. The zip up hoodie is the same heaviness as the one from the last launch with EDB Air. So this is our Facts Not Fuckery. It is such a thick hoodie. I don't know if you'll see me streaming in it a ton because I'm going to be running around in the snow in it because it is a heavy duty zip up. So if you are looking for like, it's cute, I just need to pull something on, this one is thick and heavy. So she thick. We love that. But this is our black on black Facts Not Fuckery in the day. It's so good. We've got our big old spicy skull that you know I'm obsessed with on the back. It is, and this is on the back of the pullovers as well. So you can see it great in the light. It is subtle, but she's thick. I love it. I like everybody thick with all the C's. We like them thick. So nice, thick, plushy hoodie, very heavy duty. So yay. I'm very excited. That's there. It is all in there. This launch is very fun. We went all in with our like massive 3D embroidery. Love. So I'm going to cough again. It's just going to be like that this morning. It's just going to be like that. All right. We are going to do a bit of a rundown of what's going on in the Brian Walshe case. Then we are going to go to court from the 18th. So are you ready? And Nishay's like, back when it was Get Legit Launch It. Yep. Before Quick Bits, before everything, before streaming on YouTube, there was that podcast music. All right. Let's give a warm welcome to a new case, kind of. And for those of you that are members and are loving the new icons in the chat, the new member badges are so much fun. I absolutely love them. So I hope you enjoy them too. You will start to see some of we have changes coming as those of you are hitting 4 and 5 years of being law nerds. So you will see the updated badges. We got some zhuzhing. We got some zhuzhing happening on the channel. We got a little zhuzh. We got a little zhuzh. And there's a few things left from our last launch, not very much. But if you see something in the shop that you like, now is the time to get it. All right. Octo's flexing in the chat. I see you, Octo. I see you flexing your 5 years. I see you flexing your 5 years as a law nerd. I know we were so excited to make new badges. And if you just go find Octo in the chat, you'll see his badge when we talk about the new badges. I know. Oh, Rhonda Love. I see it. I love it. All right. Are we ready to talk Brian Walshe? And then we're going to save time for Q&A. Kristen in the chat said, does the color of the member gavel mean something? Yes, it corresponds with how long you've been a member. So the gavels change depending on how long you've been a member. And you can hover over it with your mouse on on desktop and see how long you've been a member. Or you can do your member, celebration like Nadia just did in the chat. All right. Shall we talk about the rest of it? I think so. Let's talk about Brian Walshe, and we'll be back. We'll be back to talk about all the rest of the things. I love that you guys are just enjoying the badges. It's fun. We have much to talk about when we get to Q&A. We will talk about more when we get to Q&A. We're going to go through court so that everybody who's here for court, we can court, and then we'll get to all the rest of it. We got some, fun new law nerd stuff for y'all coming in 2026, and we're starting to trickle some of it out now. Honestly, because I'm too ADHD to wait, and they were really pretty, and so I was putting them into YouTube at 1 a.m. because I was like, we could just do it tomorrow. I don't want to wait. They're so pretty, and we got them done, and I was like, I don't want to wait. I want to put them in there now. We're just celebrating now. We're doing it now. That's the real of what it is. Let's talk Brian Walshe, shall we? We're going to an update. This one's from CBS News because I thought it had a pretty good road so far. Let me put up a poll real quick because I know I've only covered it briefly. So I want to take a little bit of a poll about how much you know about this case. Let's see. Putting up a poll. And let's see. Let's see. Lots I've been following it some, but it's an overview. Let's see, and last option. Let's get 4 options. All right. How familiar are you with the Brian Walshe case? I gave you some options. Lots. I've been following it some, but it's an overview. Just what we've talked about, and nope.com. So those are your options. Just what we've talked about has really been discovery stuff. Why? Because guess where this case is from? I know. I feel like we're introducing a new case. We need we should just fly to Massachusetts again. I think we're still there from yesterday. New case, who this? New case, who this? Yeah, we're going back to Cali. No, we're not. I know we were still in Massachusetts from yesterday, but this case is back in Norfolk County, Massachusetts. So guess who's investigating the murder of Anna Walshe. Norfolk County DAs or Norfolk MSP. So who's involved? Everybody, Trooper Proctor and all of them. You're going to recognize the courtroom when you see it. And you're going to recognize that the clerk is Jim. Jim is the clerk who's doing things in court. You're going to recognize a lot of the same individuals in this case. Different DAs, different defense attorneys. But we've seen one of the defense attorneys a few times in arguing things with the Walshe case regarding Trooper Proctor's cell phone. Honestly, I thought this was going to get bumped. I really did, like bump, because of how much came from Trooper Proctor's phone, which indicates to me there's probably not a ton in Trooper Proctor's phone that deals with this case specifically. So let's take a look at the overview. This case is underway in jury selection. They're actually close to having a jury picked. It's supposed to start trial right after Thanksgiving with evidence. So we'll decide together how much and how we're going to cover it, because a lot of you are interesting, right? All right. Interesting? No, interested, but same, Emily. What is stuck in my tooth? I have no idea. It's a very Monday, Thursday for me. Brian Walshe jury nearing completion after 2 days of selection. Trust me when I tell you I was shocked by this headline too. This is from yesterday. Day 2 of jury selection in Brian Walshe's Massachusetts murder trial ended Wednesday as 3 more people were added. 4 more jurors are likely needed. That's probably going to be done today. Walshe is charged with killing and dismembering his wife, Anna Walshe, whose body has never been found since she went missing in early January 2023. This is the first case. We are looking at that is a no-body homicide case. And what I mean by that is there was no autopsy. There's not going to be a coroner. You're going to hear information about her going missing, people looking for her, but you are not going to hear information of manner of death, cause of death, those sorts of things. Why? Well, because there's no body. We're going to talk about that more as we get into today's court hearing. I have cat fuzz. Today's great. Today's just, it's going so well. So this is the first case that we're covering together where they did not recover a body. Yes, there are other high-profile cases that are no body cases, but this is not one of them. Just cat fuzz. That's delightful. Thanks, Fred. Walshe is charged with killing and dismembering his wife, Anna Walshe, whose body has never been found since she went missing early January 2023. As of Wednesday, there are 6 men and 6 women currently on the jury. The goal is to reach a jury of 16 people with 12 jurors tasked with deliberating. We're familiar with this. They might go with more. Jury selection got underway Tuesday with 35 candidates interviewed by the judge, Diane Frenair, I think. Frenair? Different judge. All of you are really thankful for a different judge. And attorneys for both sides inside Norfolk County Superior Court in Dedham. Same courthouse. Despite the small pool of potential jurors, 9 people were added to the jury on the first day. What does this tell us about this jury? Well, people don't know as much about this case as they do about the Karen Reed case. This case has been easier for them to seat. Less people needed to be yeet. All right. It goes on to say things slowed down a bit on Wednesday as 47 people were considered, but by the end of the day, 3 women were added to the jury. 2 groups of candidates are expected to be brought in Thursday as the process continues. Before jury selection began on Tuesday, Walshe pled guilty. We're going to talk about that, which leaves him with the only charge of first-degree murder. Anna Walshe's body has never been found. Police said that they found a damaged and bloody knife in Walshe's basement while his wife was missing. WBZ-TV legal analyst said, or still questions whether the trial will happen at all following the earlier guilty pleas. We'll see. All right, we're not going to go to somebody else's legal analysis because we're going to talk about my legal analysis in a moment. We're going to go over a little bit more of the facts of this case because one of the things that interests me about this case is the number of Google searches. There is a how's long. I'm sorry. In this case, it's how long. There is actually a how long search, Google search. It's wild. It's just wild. So let me get to our summary of the case on, we're going to reader mode immediately. We just need reader mode. Let's strip the pictures out of it. So let's see. I am looking for their Google searches. The judge ruled Monday on several issues regarding what evidence and testimony the jury can hear, including statements from Anna's friend about a fight the couple had just days before she was killed. Brian Walsh's online searches are also under scrutiny, including 10 ways to dispose of a dead body if you really need to, and searches related to pornography involving a cheating wife. Wait, where's the one that's how long before a body starts to smell? That's in there too. Also, the fact that we got to a Google search of 10 ways to dispose of a dead body if you really need to is wild to me. In addition to that, we also have the circumstance that prosecutors are going to try to prove that Brian Walshe was aware that his wife was getting ready to leave him or potentially leaving him, and she was also having an affair with somebody else, and he had been searching that person up. I think the defense is going to be arguing that he did not know she was having an affair. But the dispose of a body if you really need to, there were lots of searches related to that, but those searches were done on their child's iPad. Yeah. These are not searches that their child is doing on the iPad. So with that background, Brian Walshe is charged with killing his wife, Anna Walshe. She went missing in early January 2023. Her body was never recovered. He was also charged with lying and misleading to police and with dismembering and disposing of a body. Jury selection is underway and almost done. The difficulty for prosecutors in this case is it is a no body case. We're going to talk about that after we watch court. The difficulty for the defense is all those Google searches. And there's far more than this article illuminated. Google searches about how long before a body starts to stink, how to get rid of a body if you really need to, what's the best method or tool for getting rid of a body, in addition to finding his blood and the decedent's blood in the basement, finding some of her clothes and trash bags, etc. So there's quite a lot in this case for prosecutors to work with, despite the fact that we also have Trooper Proctor et al. Involved in this case. With all of that, are you guys ready to go to court? It's been a minute. It's been a minute since we've gone to court. Miguelina, thank you so much for updating that date. I'm going to remember to turn it on. Are we ready? Oh, he did. KLB said best state to divorce for men. Yeah, he was Googling divorce as well. Oh, and Brian Walshe has other cases, nonviolent cases pending. We haven't talked about these. We might at another point, because he was money laundering, it seems, through selling fake Warhol paintings. So he also had a federal case, and that was all pending while this was going on. So shall we just hear ye in the Norfolk court, county of Dedham, draw near and ye shall be heard, right? Some of you are saying that's real money laundering, not the kind that Donna Adelson was up to. Yeah, art is used for it so much. Trigg said, not Andy Warhol, not on my Big O card. Well, not real Andy Warhol. Fake Andy Warhol. Fake Andy Warhol paintings. So let's go to court, shall we? This is not a super long hearing. We're going to zoom through the dead air bits of it. But yes, this case is being streamed. So yes, we do have the beginning of jury selection, so we can see what's going on in court. Again, this is a hearing from the 18th. I am still not BravoCon recovered, but this is a hearing from the 18th. I don't know what this hold screen is. I missed the OnlyFan, but this is a different courtroom. This was the original courtroom that Karen Reed's case was in.
Configuration.
There we go. Come on back. All right. No, let's go to court. There we go. When I was listening to this yesterday, it did not strike me that the audio was in mono. So if you can only hear in one earbud, that's why. I hope you can hear in both. But if you can't, I'm only hearing it in my left ear. So that might be consistent for you too. So if you only have one earbud in, put in the left one. Look, there's Jim cruising around the courtroom. Brian Walshe is the defendant talking to his attorney. You've seen this attorney. This attorney was on the Zoom calls when we were watching the discovery hearings going on with Proctor. It's mono for all of you. I'll try to find one that's not mono next time. So left ear only for court. Here, let me see. Hold on. I grabbed a backup feed. This one was super crisp video-wise, but I did grab a backup feed. Let me see.
I understand.
Oh, this is not the full hearing. That's the problem. Yeah, we're going to roll with the mono for a minute. I'm just letting you know it's mono for a minute, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
So this is the judge, new judge, who
Everyone all
this?
set.
In Dedham.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
You may.
Mr. Walsh, can you please stand?
They went into court in the morning and told the court that Mr. Walsh will be pleading. They walked into court and said, Walsh will be pleading. And so everyone is sitting there going, wait, what? And so Walsh is being asked to stand so that they can take that plea.
Mr. Walsh, do you wish to offer a change of plea on docket number 2382CR91002, which charges you with intimidation of a witness, juror, police, or court official, and 003, disinterment of a body? Do you wish to offer a change of plea from not guilty to guilty?
So those are the two charges. He has 3 total charges. Count 1 is the murder, then the lying, misleading police, and then what they call disinterment of a body, the disposing of a body. He is changing his plea. I'm going to back that up. Jim read that I backed it up way too far. Jim read that really, really fast. So they are proceeding to a change of plea right before the jury comes in. All the motions in limine happened on the 17th. He comes in the morning of the 18th. They've got the jury outside waiting to come in for jury selection. And he's like, excuse me, I'm going to change my plea. They were going in for jury selection.
Mr. Walsh, can you please stand?
Lovely, not a
Mr.
plea
Walsh, do you
deal.
wish to offer a change of plea on
Change of
docket
plea.
number 2382CR91002, which charges you with intimidation of a witness, juror, police, or court official, and 003, disinterment of a body. Do you wish to offer a change of plea from not guilty to guilty?
I do.
Could you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear to make true answers to such questions that should be put forth to you by the court, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Could you please take the witness stand?
Actually, you know what I'm going to, this is an odd configuration. I don't want counsel standing. So I'm going to let you stay right there, sir. You understand you're under oath?
I do.
All right. Why don't you be seated and
They are putting him under oath to do the factual basis for the plea. This is not a plea deal. This is a change of plea. He is changing his plea, taking a plea to plead guilty. Not a deal. Just a, hey, by the way, I'm going to plea. I'm going to plea for this. You're allowed to change your plea.
you can have the benefit of your counsel at the ready right there.
Okay.
So they came into court and the DA is like, wait, we're doing what? He's going to plea? The DA has nothing they can say about it. He's allowed to change his plea at any time. When you come into court for your initial plea hearing, you can plead guilty or not guilty. Most people just plead not guilty and then they go through the court process. But at any time you want to change your plea, you can change your plea. That's what he's doing.
Mr. Walsh, as you know, my name is Diane Frenier. I'm the judge that's presiding over this trial, and I'm an associate justice of the Superior Court in Massachusetts. I understand from your lawyers that you wish to change your plea to guilty to counts indictment 002 and in 003. And before I can accept that change of plea to guilty to those two indictments,
So that's count 2 and 3.
I need to ask you some questions to make sure that your decision to plead guilty is made voluntarily and that you understand the consequences of pleading guilty to those two offenses.
We're going to talk about why after this
If at any time during
hearing.
the course of this colloquy,
For sure.
you don't understand something that I am saying to you, just let me know by letting your attorneys know. Let them consult with you. And equally, if I don't understand something that you're saying to me, I'll ask for that further clarification. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Can you please state your full name, sir?
Brian Walshe.
All right. And Mr. Welsh, do you have any difficulty speaking or understanding English?
I do not, Your Honor.
How old are you, sir?
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Sure, I'll try to get into this microphone. How old are you?
50.
And what's your exact date of birth?
January 31st, 1975.
Where were you born, sir?
Boston.
This is their colloquy before she takes the plea. So they're doing a full colloquy before the plea is taken. And we're going to hear a pretty extensive colloquy from when I scrubbed through it. I did not listen to it, but when I scrubbed through it to look at how long this hearing was, we are going to do a whole colloquy.
Are you married?
Yes.
Wow.
Do you have any children?
Yes.
And
I think there's questions about the are you married part.
what are their ages?
9, 6, and next month, Brian will be 5.
The kids are 9, 6, and 5. Turning 5. 9, 6, and 5. They are young kids. Not that it changes. Losing a parent sucks no matter what age you are. But they are young kids.
How far did you go in school?
College, some college.
That was like a year and a half or 2 years.
Oh, yes.
And where did you go to school?
Carnegie Mellon,
What did you study?
business and computer science.
As an adult, have you had full-time employment?
I've had my own businesses,
And in what kind of businesses?
mostly consulting.
Okay. I need to ask you some personal questions. I'm going to ask you those questions now. Have you ever in the past been treated for any mental illnesses or conditions?
Yes.
Tell me about them.
Depression.
He was just sent out on a competency evaluation after he had been attacked in custody. So he got sent out for an evaluation and then came back after that evaluation and was competent to stand trial. So that's where we're going to hear him talk about some of this because it's part of the necessary colloquy. And they also need to make sure that he is not changing his plea under duress, stress, etc.
Now, have you ever in the past been treated for any mental illnesses or conditions?
Yes.
Tell me about them.
Depression.
And are you aware of whether anything else other than depression?
That was the main thing.
All right. And are you presently aware of whether you have any mental illnesses or conditions, to include depression?
No.
Right, because he went to the hospital and they're like,
Are
you're
you
fine to go to trial.
taking any medications?
No.
In the last 24 hours, have you taken any drugs, legal or illegal?
No.
In the last 24 hours, have you consumed any alcohol or alcoholic beverages?
No.
These are standard
Is your mind
questions
clear here today?
Yes.
for any
Tell
colloquy.
me in your own words, sir, why are you here
I'm here to plead guilty.
That
on
goes
those
to
two counts?
competency.
Yes.
And you understand that your trial's starting today?
Yes.
On the first indictment? All right. To defense counsel, have you had any difficulty communicating with your client?
That goes to competency as well.
And do you believe that he has understood the advice that you've provided to him?
Same.
Lorna, do you have great questions? We're going to do them after this. We're
So
going
at
to
this
go through all
time,
of
I'm going to
this.
go over what's called the waiver of rights. And at the end of it, I'm going to give you the form back that I believe you signed earlier today. Do you understand, sir, that by pleading guilty, that you're giving up your right to have a public, fair, and impartial trial as to each of the 2 indictments to which you're now pleading guilty, with or without a jury, to determine your guilt or innocence?
I do, Your Honor.
And do you understand that if you went to trial, you wouldn't have to prove anything? For example, you never have to take the stand to testify. You would never have to call any witnesses. No jury could ever hold it against you if you did not present any evidence at all. Instead, it is the Commonwealth that has the burden to prove you are guilty of each of the offenses and each element of those offenses beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand that?
I understand, yes.
You have the right to be tried by a jury of 12 people selected from your community, and you would have the right to participate in jury selection. You could not be found guilty unless the Commonwealth convinces all 12 jurors that you are guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, and they unanimously agree you are guilty. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
You also have the right to be tried by a judge instead of a jury. And again, the judge couldn't find you guilty unless the Commonwealth presented evidence sufficient to convince the judge beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty of the charge. Do you understand?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you went to trial, you would have the right to confront your accusers and any other witnesses that may testify against you by facing them and having your attorneys ask questions of them?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you understand that if you went to trial, you would have the right to call your own witnesses, present your own evidence, and if you wished, even testify on your own behalf? Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty here today, you're giving up your right to pursue any arguments or motions that your attorneys may have made or filed on your behalf in this case, and that may include motions to dismiss and motions to suppress, as well as your right to appeal any rulings or decisions that the court may have already made in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
And are you willing to give up each of those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
So those are his waivers, advisement and waiver of rights. And then it's a written advisement of rights.
Sir, if passed, had the court officer pass to you defendant's waiver of
Attorney
rights?
Tipton looks so far
Have you
away
seen that
from the
form
defendant.
before?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you read that document or have someone read it to you?
Yes, Your Honor, I read it.
Have you reviewed it with your attorneys?
Oof.
Do you understand it? Do you understand what's contained on the waiver of rights form?
I do, Your Honor.
You understand that that form sets forth in writing what you and I have just been discussing?
I forgot we were in Dedham. Sorry, y'all. My hand wasn't close enough to the button to turn down the sirens immediately.
A moment ago in terms of your willingness to waive your constitutional and statutory rights and plead guilty to the 2 indictments.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that your signature at the end of the document?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you sign that voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor, I have signed it voluntarily.
By signing that form, you're confirming to me, sir, in writing that you are aware of the rights explained on the form, that you understand them, and that you voluntarily waive them. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm holding on to a lot of your questions, y'all, for when we're done with this. A lot of you have complimented the books on the bookcase. I will note that those get incredibly dusty. So for anyone who is dust sensitive, those get incredibly dusty. A lot of you are saying this courtroom looks familiar. It is the courtroom that a lot of the initial Karen Reed hearings were in, but not the trial.
Guilty to the following 2 indictments.
Here's the plea.
Indictment 002.
So count 2 and 3.
Which charges willfully misleading a police investigation, a criminal investigation, in violation of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 268, Section 13B, and in Indictment
This is count 3.
003, you are pleading guilty to, while not being lawfully authorized by proper authorities, willfully conveying away a human body or the remains thereof in violation of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 272, Section 71.
So
Do you understand
disposal.
that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And have you talked to your attorneys about each of these 2 indictments?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has counsel explained the elements of each of those 2 indictments that the Commonwealth would have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand each indictment?
I'm sorry, what did you?
Do you understand each indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
And to defense counsel, have you explained the elements of each of the 2 offenses to your client? I'm going to ask that the assistant of the Commonwealth, whoever wishes to do it, would tell me what the
Factual
maximum
basis.
and minimum sentences are.
Should be
And
coming
I
up.
don't believe there are any mandatory minimum sentences, but you can tell me if there are.
There are no mandatory minimum sentences, Your Honor. The maximum sentence on count 2 is 10 years unless the investigation is into a capital offense, and then it is a 20-year sentencing enhancement, up to 20 years. On count 3, it is up to 3 years in state prison.
Thank you.
So on count 2, it is a 10-year sentence. However, if you are misleading the police about a capital offense, which first-degree murder can count as, there can be a 20-year enhancement. You guys have great questions. Don't worry, we're going to get to Q&A at the end of this. He is surprisingly changing his plea to guilty on counts 2 and 3.
Mr. Walsh, did you hear the maximum possible sentences for the charges that the Commonwealth just recited?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you understand those maximum potential offense charges, sentences?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that I have the authority to impose consecutive sentences on indictments, meaning, for example, that the sentence on the second indictment would begin only after you completed your sentence on the first indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that if I impose a period of probation, you will be subject to the terms and conditions imposed, including not committing any other crimes and reporting to your probation officer?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you should later be found in violation of any of the terms or conditions of your probation, a judge could sentence you up to the maximum penalty allowable by law for any of the charges on which you have been found in violation of probation, and would be required to sentence you to any mandatory minimum penalty required by the law.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand what I just explained?
Yes.
Pleading guilty has certain implications for you, and I'm going to go over those implications with you now. First is DNA testing.
So this is more
By pleading
advisement.
guilty to these 2 indictments, you will be required by law to submit a sample of your blood, hair, and/or saliva, and that sample will become part of the Massachusetts DNA database. You will be required to pay for the cost of collecting, preparing, and processing that sample unless you are determined to be indigent, and failure to comply with this law will subject you to separate criminal penalties. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you still willing to plead guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
I know earlier in the colloquy this morning, you told me that you were born in Boston, and I have no reason to doubt that. But the law mandates that I give you warnings with regard to immigration consequences, and I'm going to give you those immigration consequences now.
It's required in all
If you
cases.
are not a citizen of the United States, you are hereby advised that my acceptance of your guilty plea may have the consequence of deportation, exclusion from admission to the United States, and denial of your naturalization request, all pursuant to the federal laws. Further, if the offense to which you are pleading guilty is under federal law, one that presumptively mandates removal from the United States, and federal officials seek your removal, it's practically inevitable that this conviction will result in deportation, exclusion from admission to the United States, and/or denial of your naturalization request, again, under those federal laws. Do you understand what I just said?
Yes.
Has your attorney advised you of these consequences if you are not a citizen of the United States?
Yes, Your Honor.
And understanding that, do you still wish to plead guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because the sentence for count number 2 could be a sentence, a state prison sentence of 3 or more years. I'm now going to give you what's called the habitual offender law warning, which I'm required to give you. Here it is.
These are all
If
required
at some time in the future
consequence
you are
advisements.
convicted or plead guilty to a third or subsequent offense that is within the category.
A lot of you are asking about the advisement regarding immigration consequences. It has to be advised in every case. So he was born in Boston. The immigration consequences aren't going to apply to him, but it has to be advised in every single case. So it does not apply to him because he is a U.S. citizen and was born in the U.S., but it does apply in a lot of cases. So they give it in every single case. These advisement of rights are given. They don't pick and choose. So it is given in every single case. So some of these things might not apply, but they still have to tell him that. It is a warning of consequences, and it's given to every single defendant.
Of offenses covered by the statute, then 1, you may be imprisoned in state prison for the maximum term provided by law for such third or subsequent offense. 2, your sentence could not be reduced or suspended. And 3,
And these are the
you
strike
may
offense
be
advisements.
ineligible for probation, parole, work release, or furlough, or to receive any deduction in the sentence for good conduct. Do you understand what I just said?
Yes, Your Honor.
And understanding what I've advised you with regard to these sentencing consequences, are you still willing to plead guilty to the 2 charges?
Yes, Your Honor.
So they gave him all the advisements. And a lot of you asked, what happens if you get all the advisements and they go, nah, I don't want to do that? Then he could have said it right there. Now that you've heard all the advisements, you've heard all the potential consequences, do you still want to plea? Yes, Your Honor. So they continue. JSMP Jen said what happened with the fraud case. He pled in the fraud case as well.
All right. I'm now going to ask the Assistant District Attorney to summarize the evidence that would have been presented against you.
So now we're getting to the DA's factual basis. The court is saying, give me a summary of what would have been proven as to these 2 counts at trial. He's charged with 3 counts. He's pleading guilty to 2 of them. The murder count he is not pleading guilty to. That is still going forward to trial. So this is the DA's recitation of what would have been proven at trial if he had gone to trial on these 2 counts. So for those of you not as familiar with this case, myself included, let's hear what the DA would have pled or would have proven or say they would have proven at trial. Nishay, I know. Nishay said, I want to know more about the art fraud case. We'll go into the art fraud case a different day. I also am very curious. Art fraud's really interesting. I have a friend who just specializes in art. Art fraud is incredibly interesting to me, but we will go into art fraud a different day. Unfortunately, that was a federal case. It was never going to be televised. So.
By the Commonwealth if you went to trial.
Let's hear what the Commonwealth has to say.
I'm going to ask, sir, that you listen carefully, because when the ADA is finished, I'm going to ask you some questions about the facts that the ADA has stated.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, regarding count 002, misleading police.
All right, I'm going to try to gain this up. I can hear the court just fine. The court seems to be speaking into her microphone, which is lovely, but I cannot hear the ADA for literally anything at all. So I'm going to try to gain that up just a little bit. Fingers crossed that it works. Let's see. Let's see if that helps.
By law for such third or subsequent offense.
Painful.
2, your sentence could not be reduced or suspended. And 3, you may be
I think that just made it
ineligible
worse.
for probation, parole, work release, or furlough, or to receive any deduction.
All right, let's see if we can zoom that to the DA speaking. I jumped back way too far. Hopefully this helps.
Police in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 268, Section 13B.
Not much better.
On or about or in between January 1st to January 8th, 2023.
All right. Sorry, Mr. DA, we'll back up. So these are the dates, on or before.
In violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 268, Section 13B. On or about or in between January 1st to January 8th, 2023. Mr. Walsh did willfully mislead police officers with the intent to impede, obstruct, delay, prevent, and otherwise interfere with the criminal investigation into the disappearance and murder of Anna Walsh. The defendant first misled the Cohasset police in the morning of January 4th, 2023, when after he reported his wife, Anna Walsh, missing.
It sounds like the court is sorting through papers and that the court's microphone is turned on and then the DA's microphone is not turned on. So I can hear the court's papers more than I can hear the DA. I am so glad that we have the closed captioning for this, but OMG, is it annoying? So, apologies, Chad. Thank God for the closed captioning, but this is as to misleading the police regarding, he said, the murder and disappearance of Anna Walsh between January 1st and January 8th. And he's talking now about a specific date and what the defendant is alleged to have said.
He stated to a Cohasset police officer that Anna Walsh had left the Walsh residence at 516 Chief Justice Cushing Highway in Cohasset on the morning of January 1st, 2023, by taking an Uber or Lyft to Logan Airport when returning to Washington, D.C. for a work emergency. The defendant then continued to mislead police officers when he made additional false statements about Anna Walsh being alive and voluntarily leaving the Walsh residence, as well as when he detailed his whereabouts on January 1st, 2023, to Cohasset police and Massachusetts State Police officers. The defendant continued to make false statements when the police officers from these agencies met with him, including on the evening of January 4th, on January 5th, January 7th, and January 8th. In January of 2023, the Cohasset Police Department had approximately 20 full-time police officers, including 2 detectives. The Cohasset Police devoted all available resources in an attempt to find Anna Walsh. They requested assistance from other departments and agencies. And on January 6th, the Cohasset Police Department conducted a press conference seeking help in locating Anna Walsh. As a result of the defendant's false and misleading statements, law enforcement agencies and police officers took many actions, which had a heavy financial and emotional cost. These included the Cohasset Fire Department searching a swimming pool at the Walsh residence, teams of police officers from multiple agencies and departments, including a K-9 teams participating in large-scale canvass of the area around the Walsh residence during inclement weather. D.C. Metro Police attempted to locate Anna Walsh in Washington, D.C., and Massachusetts police officers, including Cohasset Police, Massachusetts State Police detectives, and other units from Massachusetts State Police, traveled to Washington to search for Anna Walsh in a result of the defendant's false statements. The defendant's conduct was willful. His statements impeded, obstructed, delayed, and otherwise interfered with the criminal investigation, and the delays resulted in contents of dumpsters in which the defendant had disposed of Anna Walsh's remains being incinerated.
Why don't you pause there? We'll deal with count.
Did you hear what he said? He said that the misleading the police led to the dumpsters where he disposed of Anna Walsh's remains being incinerated. So this, essentially, some of you are asking like an obstruction of justice. Yes, this is a misleading police or obstruction of justice lying in the investigation. And they're saying it caused, essentially evidence being the decedent to be destroyed. So that's what he is talking about in the misleading police.
Result of the defendant's
I'm backing that up a little.
The defendant's conduct was willful. His statements impeded, obstructed, delayed, and otherwise interfered with the criminal investigation, and the delays resulted in contents of dumpsters in which the defendant had disposed of Anna Walsh's remains being incinerated.
Why don't you pause there? We'll deal with count 2, and then we'll go to count 3.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So, Mr. Walsh, did you hear what the Assistant District Attorney just said with regard to the statement of the offense conduct for Indictment 002, misleading police?
Your Honor, if I may, Mr. Walsh is prepared to admit to the recitation of facts with respect to the indictment that the government just read, insofar as it alleges he did impede and obstruct the criminal investigation into the disappearance of Anna Walsh. We obviously object, and he's not admitting to and murder. The second portion of the facts that the government just read that we would take issue with is the last sentence, and the delays resulted in the contents of the dumpsters into which the defendant had deposited Anna Walsh remains being incinerated. Insofar as the rest of the facts, he's prepared to admit.
All right. Mr. Walsh.
So the defense parsed the statement of facts saying we disagree with these two parts. However, we are going to plead to the rest of it.
You just heard what Attorney Porges said, sort of the insofar as. It's another way of saying it limited to this. And you heard what your counsel just said. Understanding those limitations as just articulated by your counsel, did you do or join others in doing those acts?
Yes.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty that you're admitting to the facts described as revised by your counsel are true?
Yes.
Are they?
Yes.
So he's
Mr.
admitting them
Walsh,
as
did
true.
you in fact willfully mislead various law enforcement to include members of the Cohasset Police Department and the Massachusetts State Police with the intent to impede or interfere with a criminal investigation of Anna Walsh's
Those are the elements of the
disappearance?
case.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
Did you
Moving
lie with
to
the
indictment
intent
number
to
3.
impede?
Thank you,
Yes.
Your Honor. Willfully conveying a human body in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 272, Section 71. On or about and in between January 1st and January 8th, 2023, the defendant Brian Walsh willfully conveyed away the body of Anna Walsh or the remains thereof from the Walsh residence at 516 Chief Justice Cushing Highway in Cohasset by conveying and disposing of Anna Walsh's body without a license or lawful authority or the remains thereof into dumpsters and or garbage receptacles in eastern Massachusetts. The defendant's actions were willful. Anna Walsh was not a stranger to the defendant. She was the defendant's wife and mother of his 3 young children. The defendant conducted internet searches into disposal of the body, researched locations of dumpsters, and then traveled to those locations. In disposing of the body of Anna.
That's still going to come up in trial, by the way. Did you hear all of that? That's still going to come up in trial about his searches. This is still going to come up. Even though he's pleading guilty to this, it goes to consciousness of guilt. This is still going to come up.
Into dumpsters and or garbage receptacles in eastern Massachusetts.
I backed that up a little bit in case the low volume of the prosecutor made you go like, wah, wah. I backed it up so we could hear that one more time because it's going to come into trial for consciousness of guilt.
By conveying and disposing of Anna Walsh's body without a license or lawful authority or the remains thereof into dumpsters and or garbage receptacles in eastern Massachusetts. The defendant's actions were willful. Anna Walsh was not a stranger to the defendant. She was the defendant's wife and mother of his 3 young children. The defendant conducted internet searches into disposal of the body, researched locations of dumpsters, and then
Internet searches into disposal of bodies and then research locations of dumpsters.
traveled to those locations. In disposing of the body of Anna Walsh, the defendant did not comply with the law.
Thank you. Sir, did you hear what the Commonwealth just alleged it would prove the case went to trial with regard to indictment number 3?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you do those things or joins others in doing those acts?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty to today, you are admitting the facts described just now by ADA Connor?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Walsh, did you in fact willfully remove or convey the body of Anna Walsh or her remains, not being lawfully authorized to do so?
Yes, Your Honor.
So there it is.
Do you now plead guilty to these indictments willingly and voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has anyone threatened you or forced you in any way to plead guilty to these 2 indictments?
No, Your Honor.
Has anyone promised you anything in return for your plea of guilty to these 2 indictments other than the terms of the plea agreement that we discussed? Excuse me, there's no plea agreement. That's what happens when you keep reading from the book, and you shouldn't. Has anyone
The judge literally just said, keep reading. That's what happens when you keep reading. No plea agreement. This is a change of plea to the court. So the court's like, no plea agreement. change of plea to the court.
Promised you anything in return for your plea of guilty to these 2 indictments?
No, Your Honor.
Have you had enough time to discuss your rights, your case, your defenses, and the possible consequences of your guilty plea with your attorney?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you feel that Attorney Tipton and Attorney Porges have acted in your best interest, that he and she have fully, fairly, and adequately represented you in this case?
Yes.
Are you confused in any way by any of the questions I've asked you today?
No, Your Honor.
As I understand it then, sir, you're pleading guilty to these 2 indictments because you wish to plead guilty because you are guilty. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Counsel, do you know, defense counsel first, do you know of any reason why I should not accept your client's guilty plea?
Do not.
Same question to the Commonwealth.
Your Honor, I'll be brief, but we had spoke that this is a non-negotiated plea with the Commonwealth, and we had some objections to it. But my concern was where the defendant equivocates on the factual basis that the Commonwealth read in, that is one reason you should not take it. And the second is this count 3 revolves around improper disposal of Ms. Walshe's remains. And the defendant, when asked his marriage status, said that he was married. And consequently, Your Honor, then that is not an accurate relaying of his current status to the court and could be invalidated.
Interesting.
So I believe he has to be asked that question again. And I believe that if he continues to say he's married, that he's negating facts of count 3.
All right.
So the prosecution just said, hey, Your Honor, when you asked the defendant his marital status, he said he is married. Technically, he is pleading guilty to count 3, which is disposing of Anna Walshe's body, which now admits not that Anna Walshe is missing, but that Anna Walshe is deceased and that he is the one who disposed of her body. So he can't say that he is married. He can say that he is widowed. He can say that he did not cause her to die, but she did in fact die. But he cannot say that he is married. And so the prosecution is like, hey, that seems to be misleading. If he's agreeing to disposing of her body, he's necessarily agreeing that she is deceased. He's not admitting that he murdered her, but he is agreeing that she is deceased and he disposed of her body improperly and unlawfully. So the DA is asking to get back to that. I was wondering if he was going to get back to that because it was odd when the court said, are you married? And he's like, yeah. Sir, you're sitting here to plead that you got rid of her body. What do you mean, yeah? It's always yes. He said yes. Always yes, never yeah. But the attorneys have been very precise in what we've seen today. Both the prosecution and the defense have been quite precise in their language. I hope this is a sign of things to come.
I'll give defense counsel an opportunity to speak with your client.
Your Honor, I apologize. I couldn't exactly hear what Mr. Connor's caveat was.
In response to one of the early questions I asked of the defendant, I asked him if he was married, and he said yes, he was. And the Commonwealth was raising the point that if that were true, that it might negate proof of the disinterment, which requires a human body or remains.
Right.
Do you want to speak to your client about that?
A moment, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to zoom, because we have all the zoom room in the world, because we're time traveling today. We have time warped.
Respectfully, I don't see this as a relevant or material issue.
Well, the DA does.
If the court wants clarification, I'm happy to approach sidebar.
Why don't we do that?
Okay.
And the prosecution does not want anything to negate this plea deal because they could just go to trial on it. They're already ready to go to trial. So I'm going to zoom past their sidebar. This is, a lot of you have asked, what is this courtroom? This is the courtroom that Alan Jackson did not want to be in. This is the courtroom where they complain that the witness box is a little wonky vis-a-vis the jury box. So the defense attorneys are heading back to the table talking to defendant Walshe.
Is it correct that you were married?
I went back too far and the court's going to colloquy
so,
again.
Mr. Walshe, earlier today I asked you whether you were married and you answered yes, you were married. Do you remember that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is it correct that you were married to Anna Walshe for a
Was
period
married.
of time?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that under the law, death extinguishes marriage. It may not religiously or otherwise, spiritually, but under the law, when someone dies or when someone is dead, you can no longer be married to them. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And so are you married today?
Your Honor, if I may, insofar as previous discussions for purposes of a successful plea colloquy and meeting.
This is a really interesting and odd sticking point to me. This is a very interesting sticking. Look, I'm not going to tell someone how to feel. I don't know how I would feel. I don't even want to think about it. But he is sitting in court pleading that he improperly disposed of her body while pending trial for her murder. And we'll talk about why I think he's doing that in a minute. But he or his attorney are struggling with saying, I was married to Anna Walshe and I am now widowed. By him pleading guilty to disposing of her body, he is acknowledging that she is deceased. He is not acknowledging that he killed her. People can die in a variety of ways. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But he is acknowledging that he disposed of her body. And the facts from the prosecution are that he disposed of her body in multiple different dumpsters in not intact. So the problem the prosecution has with this is that they don't want to undermine the plea colloquy where he's admitting to disposing of her body, which necessitates that she is deceased, and still saying, but yes, I married. And the court is saying, okay, but you are necessarily acknowledging that she is deceased. So for the purpose of the plea colloquy, we are going to have some understanding about whether or not you are still married. And it's just odd to me that this is the sticking point, because I think he is referring to Anna Walshe, the decedent in this case. I don't think he's implying that he is like remarried while he's been in custody for the last 2 years. So when the court said you were married to Anna Walshe, he's saying yes. He's acknowledging that she's deceased. So it is an odd hill that this has become an issue. I did not expect that this was becoming an issue. And I did not expect that this was an issue. See, Mother of Peril, no, he's admitting that he disposed of Anna Walsh's body. That's what he's pleading guilty to. This is a strange sticking point for me. This is an odd one. I don't know. We're gonna watch it play out, because what an odd sticking point. I had to back it up.
Earlier today, I asked you whether you were married, and you answered.
For those of you just joining us, we are watching court from the 18th. Brian Walshe is pending trial. They're almost done with jury selection, so he'll be going to trial shortly on the murder. He's pleading guilty to counts 2 and 3. They're on a sticking point about whether he's still married to the decedent victim in this case. And it's an odd sticking point for me. Also, the audio is mono left ear. Don't worry. Before this goes to trial, in whatever way we're able to cover it, we will find a feed that is not mono.
Yes, you were married.
This one had the best video.
Yes, Your Honor.
And is it correct that you were married to Anna Walshe for a period of time?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that under the law, death extinguishes marriage. It may not religiously or otherwise, spiritually, but under the law, when someone dies or when someone is dead, you can no longer be married to them. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And so are you married today?
Your Honor, if I may, insofar as previous discussions for purposes of a successful plea colloquy and meeting the elements of the crime, he is acquiescing to the fact that lawfully he is not married today.
All right, you heard what your lawyer just said? Agree with what your lawyer just said?
Yes, Your Honor, I agree.
All right. Anything else that we need to cover?
No, Your Honor.
All right.
He is
To the extent that the Commonwealth is objecting to.
He is acquiescing for the purpose of a successful plea colloquy that he is no longer married. Okay.
The taking of the plea on other grounds that is overruled. My job here is to make sure that I have a valid plea. And that means that the defendant is pleading guilty to the elements that the Commonwealth would have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. And I have inquired sufficiently.
Also, I've not seen a plea colloquy in any of my cases where it matters if somebody's married or not. Like ever. So I don't even know why they're asking, are you married in the plea colloquy? I don't know. It's not something that comes up in the plea colloquies in at least Los Angeles County. So
Just to assure myself that he has admitted to each of the elements of the two offenses of Indictment 02 and 03.
some of you are asking, could he
So
be...
I know we discussed it in
Some of you are asking in the chat, could he be saying that he disposed of a body, not Anna? No. He admitted that it was her body. She is the victim, named victim in that count. So no, he is admitting that he disposed of her body, which means he is acknowledging that she is deceased and he disposed of her body.
earlier point, the issue of victim notification. And I'll ask on the record now for the Commonwealth. Has the Commonwealth advised the victims of this case of the defendant's offer to change his plea to guilty?
Yes, we have notified the victims, Your Honor.
And based on our prior discussions, I understand that the victims may wish to address this court prior to any sentencing of the defendant.
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right. And both parties that we've talked about this have agreed that we're not going to be sentencing the defendant today on the indictments that he's now pleading guilty to, correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Attorney Tipton, Borges? All right. And we'll give the victims a reasonable opportunity to address the court before sentencing, of course.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You understand, Mr. Walsh, that at the time that we do get to
Further
sentencing,
advisements
that by law,
from the
I'm
court?
not bound to any recommendation that's made by the prosecution or your lawyers. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that I may impose any sentence.
The court is straight up like, I can do what I want. He's changing his plea. That's it. Full change of plea. So the court's like, I can do what I want. I can sentence you to what I want. I am not bound by anything. You have no agreements. I can sentence you to the max. I cannot sentence you to the max. I get to choose. It's up to the court. He is pleading open to the court.
It's permitted by law up to the maximum allowable sentence.
Yes, Your Honor.
Having considered Mr. Walsh's criminal history, the government's proffered evidence, I will later consider the victim's statements to the court for matters for sentencing. I find that Mr. Walsh has met the requirements to tender a plea to counts 2 and to counts 3. I make the following findings. I find that the defendant is not presently under the influence of drugs or alcohol, and that he hasn't reported that he's not presently suffering from any mental illness or condition, and that he's not presently taking any medications. I find that the defendant understands the nature of the charges and the consequences of his pleading guilty. I find that the defendant's change of plea to guilty with respect to each of the two indictments, 02 and 03, is made knowingly, willingly, intelligently, and voluntarily, and with the full knowledge of its consequences. I find that the defendant's change of plea on these two indictments to guilty is made upon and with the advice of competent counsel. And I find
those
there's
are
a
all the plea
factual
findings?
basis in the evidence has been summarized
Bunch
by
of
the
sirens in the
prosecution
background.
and limited by defense counsel on behalf of the defendant for each of the two indictments to which the defendant now pleads guilty. Accordingly, I accept Mr. Walsh's plea of guilty as to indictments 002 and 003.
And those guilty pleas have been accepted. All right, Your Honor, now what are we doing?
Anything else that counsel that we need to do on the change of plea?
No, Your Honor.
All right. So let me turn to empanelment. I think you each had an opportunity last night to look at the questionnaire, and I know
So the judge
that
is talking about
defense
jury
counsel
selection
asked
briefly.
for an additional
Curious what she has
question
to say.
be added. I did add that.
Hopefully you also want to know what she has to say. And then as this wraps, we will get to the vast question and answer, because lots of you have lots of questions. And that's fair.
All right, I do have the right version. Counsel, if you want to come up, you can take a look at what I added.
Wait, not sidebar. No, not the sidebars. They might be just about done then. Let me see if we can zoom to them closing this hearing on the record. Well, it looks like they might not go back on the record actually. Then, because the court's off the bench there. So they might not go back on the record at all. So let's see. There we go. Oh, and then the court comes back in for jury selection. So that is the end of that. Do you want to hear the beginning of the court going into jury selection? Just the opening words to the jury? We can do that real quick and then we'll answer your questions. There's lots of Q&A and I want to make sure I have time for it. But this is the beginning of what we're getting into and the court advising the jury. We saw a lot of this in the Karen Reed case. We'll go over it quite quickly. I like the judge's glasses. Really, that's a hugely swaying factor for me. Big fan.
And impartial as is humanly possible.
The audio is a little bit better, so yay for that. But this does not start right where the judge starts. Why? I don't know.
Pick a jury that is as fair and impartial as is humanly possible. And what that means in terms of fairness and impartiality, in terms of jury service, is we're looking for jurors who will decide this case on two things and only two things. The facts and the evidence that you see and hear inside this courtroom.
The facts, everybody.
As I teach it.
Facts.
If you can do that, then you can be a fair and impartial juror. Now, let me give you a brief description of this case. As I mentioned,
and that's where we're going to end it after her description of the case.
This is the trial of a criminal case. The Commonwealth alleges that on December 30th, 2022, Anna Walshe returned home to Cohasset from her job in Washington, D.C., to be with her husband, the defendant, Brian Walshe, and their children to celebrate the new year. At that time, Anna Walshe lived and worked in Washington, D.C., and would return to the family home in Cohasset, where her husband and three small children continued to reside. The Commonwealth alleges on January 4th, 2023, Anna's employer called police to report that she was missing. Cohasset police went to the Walshe home where the defendant reported that Anna was missing and alleged that she had left the house early the morning on January 1st and that he had not heard from her since then. Days later, police searched a dumpster outside the defendant's mother's Swampscott apartment and found clothing that belonged to Anna Walshe, Anna Walsh's COVID vaccination card, towels with red-brown stains, a hatchet, and a hacksaw. The defendant is...
Her employer reported her missing. They went to talk to her husband, and her husband was just like, yeah, well, actually, she was missing. And then what do they find in the dumpster? Her clothes, her COVID vaccination card, a towel with what I'm sure scientific testing will say is blood on it, and her blood on it, a hatchet, a hacksaw. Oh. For those of you saying, wait, this is way more detail than they gave in the Karen Reed case. Yes, judges get to give different statements of the case depending on the case and depending on the judge. So yes, it is different. More of a statement of the case.
Where the defendant reported that Anna was missing and alleged that she had left the house early the morning on January 1st and that he had not heard from her since then. Days later, police searched a dumpster outside the defendant's mother's Swampscott apartment and found clothing that belonged to Anna Walshe, Anna Walsh's COVID vaccination card, towels with red-brown stains, a hatchet, and a hacksaw. The defendant is charged with murdering Anna Walshe. The defendant denies these allegations, is presumed innocent, and has pleaded not guilty. I will now ask the lawyers to introduce themselves and to tell you who they represent. We'll start first with the Commonwealth. ADA Connor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Greg Connor. I'm an Assistant District Attorney for the Norfolk District Attorney's Office, and I will be representing the Commonwealth along with...
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tracy Cusick. I'm also an Assistant District Attorney at the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. And I'm also...
It's fascinating to me how everyone has a slightly different pronunciation of Norfolk. There's such a wide range of how they pronounce Norfolk. It's so interesting to me.
I'm Assistant District Attorney, and my name is Ann Yaz, and I will also be representing the Commonwealth.
Ma'am, your glasses are fabulous. I love it.
And for the defendant, Mr. Walshe, Attorney Tipton.
I'm Attorney Tipton.
My name is Larry Tipton. I represent...
Mr. Tipton, it's nice to see you in court and not on Zoom, sir. We've been dealing with your lack of microphone on Zoom for so long. It's really actually nice to see you in person in court. It's delightful.
Mr. Walsh.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kelly Porges, and I'm also here on behalf of Mr. Walsh.
I just keep thinking of the Star Wars little creatures every time she says Porges. I'm trying not to, because your ponytail is great, ma'am. I'm trying not to, but every single time.
Good morning.
Thank you. Let me talk a little bit
for
about
real.
the trial for the schedule. The schedule for the trial, try it that way.
I like this judge too. Lawnards, I might be invested.
Today, as you know, is Tuesday, November the 18th.
Lawnards are watching this on delay. However, I don't know what day of the week it is this week, and it has fucked me up all week. Like, I got home on a weird day. Look, Vegas BravoCon. I have no concept of what's happening in the world. And Dr. B last night was like, hey, we've got like all of this stuff at school tomorrow with Travis. I'm like, wait, what? He's like, tomorrow's Thursday. I'm like, it is? Okay.
We plan to select the jury before Thanksgiving, and we will start the trial itself on Monday, December the 1st, 2025. The lawyers estimate that it will take between 3 to 4 weeks to try this case and to present all the evidence.
Ma'am.
The jury will then meet to discuss and consider the evidence and issues in the case, and we call that deliberation, to reach a decision, which we call a verdict. There is no set time for a jury to decide a case. The jury takes as much time as it needs.
It's going to go right into Christmas.
During the trial, while the evidence is being presented, our typical daily schedule will be between the hours of 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. We take a morning break at 11 a.m. and a lunch break between the hours of 1 and 2 p.m. There may be a day here or there, typically on Friday, that we might suspend early, depending on.
Ma'am, we love an early Friday. I also love how clear she is. She's like, this is our schedule. This is our schedule.
On the pace of the case. When the jury begins its deliberations, the jury will deliberate from the period of 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And again, we set no pace for the deliberations. The jury takes the time it needs to decide its case. Before we begin selecting jurors, I want to briefly explain some important legal rules that the jury must follow. And at the end of the trial, I'll give you more detailed instructions on the legal rules that apply.
All right, the court is going to get into all of the jury instructions and the pre-jury instructions. We know they're in jury deliberation. We know they're actually almost done with selecting a jury. So that is where we're going to end court for now, because there are so many questions that you have. We're going to go into a little bit more evidence about the case real quick. The video on that was so crisp, but the mono sound is going to just do me in. But we're going to get into a few more details about the case. We have one more article I wanted to look at the end of the day yesterday. All of the media that is reporting on this still indicates that they are going to start December 1st. Even if they select a jury today, they are going to start this case on December 1st. So if they select a jury today, they are going to take off all of next week for Thanksgiving and then start on the 1st. So they're not going to bump this forward. So let's take a look at one more article, and then we're going to answer questions as best we can. This is coming to us from WCVB. Let's see. 3 more jurors seated on the second day of selection for the Brian Walshe murder trial. The headlines got cut off a little bit because I needed room to show you the article without the ads. But each website formats differently, and it makes it difficult. Difficult. All right, let's move this. 12 of the 16 jurors for the murder trial of Brian Walshe are now seated after 2 days of work in Massachusetts. Brian Walshe is accused of killing and dismembering his wife in 2023. Now, we'll hear more about that. Let's get into the jury selection update and their recitation of the case. For those of you new to this case, to those of you not, thank you for no spoilers. 9 people were seated during the first day of jury selection. That's really quick work. 3 more seated on Wednesday. Jury selection is also an opportunity for the parties to get to know the jurors and start to build connections and relationships, said their legal analyst, True. Seat and Yeet, as it is affectionately called up here with the law nerds. The Cohasset father is accused of killing and dismembering his wife, Anna Walshe, 39, around New Year's Day, 2023. Prosecutors allege that Walshe disposed of his wife's remains in dumpsters around the area. Before the start of jury selection, Brian Walshe entered guilty pleas on 2. I hate when the ads make it jump. On 2 counts, willfully conveying a human body in violation of state law and misleading police. The judge accepted the change of plea. We just watched that. It goes on to say, according to court records, Walshe is maintaining his claim of innocence on the charge of murder. Well, yeah, he didn't plead guilty to that. Let's see. The documents also indicate that the prosecution did not want to negotiate a plea agreement unless it included the murder charge. Well, of course. Why would you? Let's see. They have some comments in commentary, which we will give. The court's goal is to have 12 jurors and 4 alternates before Thanksgiving. They're going to have that well before Thanksgiving. During the course of the trial, they need to agree not be on social media. The judge told the jury, we know that. We've seen those instructions given. The judge ruled on Monday on several issues regarding what evidence and testimony the jury can hear. So these were the motions in limine that happened the day before. If we have time, maybe we'll go look at those before trial starts. Maybe we won't. It's just going to depend. I'll talk to Team Baker. We'll see. Right? So the judge ruled on Monday regarding what evidence and testimony the jury can hear, including statements from Anna's friend about a fight the couple had just days before she was killed. Brian Walsh's online searches are also under scrutiny, including 10 ways to dispose of a dead body if you really need to, and searches related to pornography involving a cheating wife. There are more searches than that, including best way to dismember a body. Prosecutors... Let's see. Several Massachusetts state police troopers involved in the Karen Read case are listed as potential witnesses, including former trooper Michael Proctor, who is listed as a defense witness. They go on to say that Anna Walshe was last seen alive on New Year's Eve in 2022. What began as a missing person search in Cohasset and Washington, D.C. quickly escalated. Within days, Brian Walshe was arrested and accused of misleading investigators. Prosecutors say he killed his wife, believing she was having an affair, and then dismembered and disposed of her body, which was never found. So, there are more Google searches than that, including things specific to a hacksaw. But I guess we'll hear those as we get into trial. You'll have to let me know if you're interested on this one because, well, I've got some days I might not be able to stream. But would we rather not, or would we rather just do what we can even if we miss a day or two? I'll talk to Team Baker about it and we'll see, because we have not covered a case. I'm still not sure this is going to go to trial on the 1st, but we have not covered a case that has been a no body case yet. They are interesting and they are very different cases. So we'll talk to the team. I'll look at the calendar. We should be done before Christmas. So I know all of you are like, whatever, it's a trial. We love streaming trials. Talk to the team. You have a ton of questions. Let's try to summarize as best we can. I'll see if I can wrap my brain around it. For all of you that just popped in, let's see if we can summarize the best we can. And then we'll go from there. But the nice thing about Massachusetts is, well, they do end court pretty promptly at 4. They do end court pretty promptly at 4. And what we might do if we stream this trial, if she takes the morning break at 11 a.m., what we might do is start streaming at the morning break when they take the break at 11 a.m. Eastern, so 10 a.m. And then we have like an hour of Zoom room and start a little bit later and then Zoom through it, take a shorter lunch and then Zoom. Because they really do end pretty promptly, which really gives us some room. It's not, no offense, Floridians, but damn, your judges use the entire day. The judges are like, we got this jury here. We're going to run 9 hours of court a day. It's crazy. Massachusetts, it's like, that's enough for today, which I appreciate. They can be very long days. Let's try to summarize the best we can. You have a ton of questions. I have saved them. I have like 200 things saved that I want to get through to chat about. So, Brian Walshe is going to trial. I thought there would be more delays, especially because former trooper Michael Proctor is connected to this case. This is a Norfolk DA homicide case. So there are a lot of familiar players, but this case was investigated after the Karen Read case, but not that much after. This happened right over New Year's 2022 going into 2023. Prosecutors accused Brian Walshe of murdering his wife, Anna Walshe, dismembering and disposing of her body, which was never recovered. Today, we watched the court hearing where they were coming in for jury selection and the defendant decided to plea to the court. This was not a plea agreement with the prosecutions. This was the defendant saying, hey, as to count 2 and 3, I'm going to take a plea. I plea open to the court, sentence me to what you want. There's no agreement. And I'm only going to trial on count 1, the murder charge. Yes, defendants can choose to do that. They can plea open to the court at any time. We're going to talk about the strategy of that in just a moment. But it is not going to substantially limit prosecutors, from my perspective, in presenting some of the most damning evidence that we've heard about in this case, including Google searches. I also think it's pretty telling that it was her boss that first reported her missing and not her spouse. And then police were like, hey, it seems that your spouse might be missing. He's like, oh yeah, about that. She went to Logan, and then we never heard from her again. Well, the thing about airports are what? They have a whole lot of checkpoints. They have a lot of video. There's a lot of information in an airport. A lot of it. So with all of the information that the defense got regarding Proctor's phone, and they were fighting about the Proctor phone right up until a week or two ago, and Brian Walshe had originally been set to go to trial and then delayed because he went out to have a competency evaluation after he was attacked in custody. And all of that in this case is still going forward to trial. So we are going to see what happens from here. But yes, after pleading on 2 of the 3 counts, he can still go to trial on just the murder count. I do not think it will substantially limit the evidence that's going to come in, because a lot of evidence will be shown as to consciousness of guilt, including things like lying to law enforcement, like disposing of a body, like the Google searches regarding disposing of a body. A lot of those things will come into evidence to show consciousness of guilt, in addition to proving those counts that now no longer need to be proven. So as this goes to trial, I will be keeping an eye on it. I will talk to Team Baker. Law nerds are like, let's stream. Look, I can be persuaded. It's Massachusetts. Those are shorter court days. We can figure it out. It should be done before Christmas. I mean, it would be our entire month of December. But maybe that's what we need to end out the year, is just a month of a trial. We'll talk to the team. I will keep you posted. But you have a ton of questions. Let's get to those questions. Shall we, law nerds? Let's swoop and get to questions, because you have tons of questions. All right. So I am newer to this case. You are newer to this case. I don't know if we're going to do a deep dive into this case, because I kind of rather watch it play out, right? I rather see it just happen. So Totally Jane said, why not plea to everything? Because the charges that he pled to carry a maximum, I mean, if you add the enhancement, which may or may not count, a maximum of 30 years. The murder carries a life period sentence. So on the why not plea to everything, because if you don't get a deal to reduce that murder, then you are still pleading to a life without the possibility of parole. I don't know if DAs are inclined to give him a non-first degree murder so that he has the possibility of parole, but who knows? There's still a long way to go before evidence starts. Not to mention, we have seen trials together, and I have done trials where you get midway through and the defendant's like, can I plea now? And then sometimes cases plea in the middle. We don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. He could change his mind over Thanksgiving. The DAs could change their mind and say, fine, you know what? Our community and our likely jury pool kind of doesn't love our, police force at the moment. Maybe we do want to take a plea to give him the opportunity for possible parole. Maybe. Who knows? Who knows? So let us continue with your questions, because there are so many. I've got to go back to the beginning. There are so many of them. And great questions too. And lots of lovely member chats. Let's see. Donnie B said they mentioned it all in the 46 pages. Yes, we went over it yesterday. Caitlin says, happy birthday to my younger sister, Emily, who turns 27 today. Happy birthday. Let's see. Oh, some of these are from yesterday, which is totally fine. Let's see. We have some of these saved from yesterday. I said I was going to. So I just want to make sure I have the ones from today as well, and that I get to those. Let's see. Mary Smith said, EDB, I need to boost my driver's seat all the way up and I still can't see over the hood. That's very fair, as I was talking about my relative height yesterday. Let me make sure I have today's. Fluffy Buddy asked, can I share my nail color? It is like 4 different colors. It is not easy to share, but it is chrome over cat eye. So it is chrome over cat eye. So it was like more of a galaxy chrome over a more neutral silver cat eye, that over black. So that's what we were doing. It's quite a lot. Chronic Shock said EDB in the UK, we are getting what is officially being called thunder snow. We've had thunder snow here once in Tennessee that I have seen. It is an incredibly interesting phenomenon, the thunder snow. It is rare. Enjoy the thunder snow. It's fantastic, but it's rare. But yes, I was very excited when we got thunder snow. It's interesting. Chronic Shot also asked, how lightweight is the oversize? It's a lightweight hoodie. It's a very lightweight hoodie. And I agree with you. I don't overheat in this one. It is a lightweight hoodie. It is meant to be a lightweight hoodie. It is cozy, but it is not like thick and heavy. For all of you that have the drop shoulder in any of the other ones, the purple, I have questions and stuff. These are a lightweight, thinner hoodie. They are not super, super heavy. So don't worry. With new launches, we always break the internet. We broke our warehouse as well. And so when I was zooming off of a call yesterday, it was to talk to our distributor because we broke our warehouse. And it was a, hey, so the law nerds are unique. And we're like, yeah, we told you that. They're like, it's just something. I'm like, you guys, we picked a warehouse that deals with massive companies, massive bands. And the law nerds have left them shooketh. And I'm like, we tell you this. And still people are like, but it's unusual. We are special. We tell you that we're special. And then everybody goes, but we weren't quite anticipating. If you listened to us at the first time, we told you. Warren's been telling you for a year. We told you. So we break things. Doctor Who said, what is unique about ordering stuff? You have stuff, we order stuff. Right. It is the swiftness and the volume that seems to cause the problem. So we've broken everything. We've broken the website multiple times. We broke the warehouse. We broke the warehouse's inventory software. And each time we break something at the warehouse, it is a new thing. Like they fix the thing and then it's a new thing. Elena said, you need the same place that handles Taylor Swift orders. We did that and we still break it. The law nerds still broke it. We did that on purpose. We did that and still. So yes, it should be simple. And I agree. It's like there's stuff and you order it. What is there to break? And then it is the swiftness at which the law nerds are excited. So yeah, we break stuff. We're law nerds. It was funny. So hopefully we've got so much stuff in place now that we shouldn't have any problems. But yeah, we did that. And yes, the law nerds are different and I love it. We keep trying to explain, but this launch has found breaks early on. And now it seems like smooth sailing because the members who ordered in advance, I think all of you guys got your shipping notifications from the Law Nerd Lounge. And so you guys will start to see those rolling out, which is fantastic. I'm very exciting. Carrie W was talking about the courtroom, loving the books on the shelves. I love the historical law books on the shelves. They get super fucking dusty. Super dusty. JSMP Jen and everyone else, what is the benefit to changing his plea? That is the number one question you guys have. Why change the plea? And of course, we're not in the mind of the defendant. We're not his defense attorneys, so we can only speculate, and that's what we're going to do. I have had a number of cases where defendants have chosen to change their plea, either to keep evidence about that count out, or so they can say, if they testify, look, I'm only fighting on the one thing I didn't do. I admitted all those things. I didn't do those things. I did do those things. I admitted what I did, and I'm not admitting this because I didn't do this. So it can set up a defendant to testify, which may very well be the case here, especially in a no-body case. if the defendant here is going to argue something along the lines of something happened to Anna Walshe, I didn't kill her, something happened to her, and then I freaked out and we had been fighting and I thought I would get blamed, so I Google searched all this stuff and decided if I just got rid of her body, it would be better. And then he admits to the jury, look, I got rid of her. I lied to police. I was scared, but I didn't kill her. There may be some juries that are like, well, we don't know how she died. Maybe she fell down the stairs. Maybe she, who knows? But we don't know. And then he freaked out. Okay, maybe. And that strategy is not uncommon in a no body case because there's no coroner to come in and say, no, this is what happened. The only way that strategy works is if he testifies. It is not a bad strategy. I freaked out because I knew what they were all going to say. And I knew that they were going to all look at me. And so I didn't know what to do. And so I didn't want my kids to know, and I was acting out of stress and blah, 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 blah. If that's his strategy, he has to testify. And if he testifies, he can say, yes, I lied to police. Yes, I got rid of her body. Yes, I did all those things. Those things I did. And I took responsibility for them. This is the thing I didn't do. It is a strategy to fight on count one, in my opinion. I do not think this is a case where it will limit the evidence. Sometimes you have cases where it limits the evidence. Here, the evidence that would go to lying to police and the evidence that would go to disposing of the body improperly is also going to go to consciousness of guilt. Lying to the police also can be argued as consciousness of guilt. So that is still going to come in, but it gives him the opportunity to say, but I didn't kill her. And that is a solid strategy. And if they give lesser includeds, it might also move him out of the first degree murder into like a second degree murder or a manslaughter. Like we were arguing and she tripped and fell or whatever it is. I didn't mean to kill her, but she died. And then it reduces it from an intentional volitional first degree murder because it's my understanding that all the Google searches are about things after the fact. So if that strategy works, he might get himself out of the life without parole category into a parolable offense to someday get out of prison. And the 2 counts that he pled to don't knock him out of the possibility of getting out sometime in the future. So this is a strategic play. But I think this strategy only works if he testifies. I don't see how this helps if he doesn't choose to testify. For this strategy to help, I think he has to testify. And a lot of you are pointing out, like the Casey Anthony case, exactly like the Casey Anthony case. No, exactly like the Casey Anthony case. I think, though, that the evidence, I think there was more evidence in this case from what I have initially seen than the Casey Anthony case. That is my perception. So I think this is strategy. I think for this strategy to be effective, he has to testify. And I think it's going to depend heavily on how the information comes in. So, let's see. It's, again, great questions, chat. Let's see. Tanya said, isn't there a plea where he can take that will show he had a hand in it, but not directly, like an Alford plea? This is not a circumstance where an Alford plea would, I think, be permitted by the court. You would just go to trial because this isn't a plea to get around like civil liability, like an Alford plea, where it's like, I'm pleading guilty because I'm choosing to plead guilty, but I'm not accepting responsibility. The court would not let him take a plea where he doesn't accept responsibility on this. It would be like, fine, then go to trial. This is not a circumstance where I think a judge would allow that. So, let's see. Amanda said he should be required to tell where she's buried. They know. She was put into a variety of dumpsters. They have him disposing things into dumpsters on video. So they know that she was not buried, but actually put into dumpsters. They know that. So that is something that they're already aware of. Dave said, when I was stationed in the Netherlands, we once got thunder snow with a spin-up tornado. That's a wild weather day. Like for real, for real. Let's see. So Brandy asked, why would he admit to all of this? To try to fight the murder. To try to fight the murder. Stacy said, impeding but has nothing to do with her death. Make it make sense. He will, if he testifies, I imagine it will be, we were fighting, she was having an affair, she was living separately in DC, they're going to think it was me, she and I didn't get along, her, friends and family, I don't know if this is true, her friends and family didn't like me. These are the things he's going to say he was worried about, right? I was scared. I thought I would be blamed. Some jurors might resonate with that. Now, some jurors might see the things that were recovered in the dumpsters and blood in the home and not. But we'll see. What he's not going to argue, though, is that she's not deceased at this point. So there's that. Because I don't think after this plea, he can argue that she is still missing, that she fled the country and started a new life on a yacht or something. Like there's that ship has, yachting analogies. Emily, you spent too much time with the below deck crew. That ship has sailed. He admits to getting rid of her body, which means he is admitting that she is in fact deceased. I think he is going to argue that he did not cause it. So let's see. Pixie Patty said, question, did the defense talk to the prosecution beforehand so the prosecution could have the statements ready? There would have been some time where he needed to go through the advisement of rights and the prosecution would have been told yes, but also the prosecution would have had pretty succinct statements of each count ready for the court to read to the jurors. So they would have already had that ready. And also as a prosecutor, when you're ready for trial, it's not hard to summarize your case quickly because you've already worked on your opening statement. You know what this case is. And this was supposed to go to trial in October. So they've had time. But yes, they would have been given the heads up so they can let the victim family know, hey, he's going to plead guilty to these two. It's still going to go to trial on this. You will be able to make impact statements after trial later. CS 1177 said if a defendant changes their mind about the plea after the advisements, can the prosecution draw an inference and use it at trial? No, it would be part of essentially a negotiation that would not come in. So it's like, well, he was going to plea and then didn't like the consequences. That doesn't come in. See, they were going to plea, so they're guilty. You can't use that against him. So Kooky Carolyn said, this is such a good strategy, especially if this cuts some of the horrible Google searches out from trial. I don't know if it will cut out the Google searches. They are going to argue to cut out the Google searches, but I think they go to consciousness of guilt. Or at least that's what the prosecution, I think, will be arguing. Coco B said, so what's the point of pleading guilty to all of this if the evidence still comes in? Y'all, I admitted to what I did, but I didn't do that. Murdaugh did the same thing, right? In a totally different circumstance. But Murdaugh is like, look, I admitted to all the financial stuff, but I'm not admitting to this because I didn't do it. We'll see. Devlin said, shout out to my cousin Jill. Love you. Hello, Devlin and cousin Jill. J. Michael, is our yearly Dr. B session in 1 week? Yes. And maybe I saved some of the BravoCon stories that I haven't told Dr. B for the EDB and Dr. B after Thanksgiving chat. Maybe we do that, where I try to explain to him not only who Tom Sandoval is, but how I ended up sitting with him at a table the last night of BravoCon. Maybe we just save that story. Did you all watch Traitors? Who watched Traitors? Traitors is one of my favorite TV shows ever. One of my favorite TV shows ever. Did you watch Traitors with Sandoval? Dr. B has watched Special Forces and part of Traitors. I love Traitors. Chat, you've already clocked it. At this table, we were sitting and chatting, and he started singing the fucking doll thing at the table. Y'all, I have just never in my life. And I was sitting there and I'm like, what is happening? We chatted. We did. We chatted. I was stunned. Also, I tried very hard to have Brittany Bateman from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I don't think this happened, but I did my best to make it happen. I told Brittany that because she was walking around the entire BravoCon with the unicorn. To be fair, Linda, I was at the table first. Sandoval and his girlfriend and her family joined us at the table. I was there. We were there first. But Sandoval, I was there with Adam and Jason. I'm sure Adam has already told this story on his channel, but I was there with Adam and Jason and they came up and sat with us. So Brittany's walking around with the unicorn for all of BravoCon. And Sandoval has the doll thing from Traitors. And so I asked Brittany, I was like, Brittany, I'm going to need you to have like a face-off between the unicorn and Sandoval's doll. Brittany hadn't watched Traitors. So Brittany's like, I need you to tell me about Sandoval's doll. I'm like, he's standing over there holding it in the same room where we all were. So we're standing in the room. I'm looking at Brittany. Sandoval is like 2 tables away. And I'm like, he's standing there with this freaking doll from Traitors, from a challenge in Traitors. And you've got the unicorn and the unicorn makes the sound. Can you please do a TikTok or reel or whatever with the unicorn and the backwards singing doll? Or make Sandoval sing the I love you, or no, it doesn't say I love you. The good night, baby, you are loved. Make him sing that backwards. Something. I need you to do something with the two of you and the singing backwards with the doll. And she's like, that's a great idea. I'm like, yes, I have good ideas. I don't want to make these reels myself. I don't want to go do this content. I want you to go do this content, please. Please either have him sing it backwards or have him face off the unicorn and the doll. Please. I don't think it ever happened. But all I wanted to see was the hilarity of, because I'm sure Sandoval has no idea who the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City are. And a lot of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City have no idea who the fuck Sandoval is. And everyone has a level of like, we're fancy Bravo Labs. So I'm like, please make this happen. I don't think it happened. If it happens, I will share it with you. It would be hilarious. But Brittany was very pleasant in person. I mean, everyone I met in person was pleasant. Nobody has ego stuff with me. Most of them don't know who I am. It's perfect. I get to just run around. And the ones that do know who I am want to talk about cases, which is why in Brittany's airport reel, if you guys didn't see it, I will share it again on social. But Brittany was walking down the aisles of the flight that we were on singing. And I was talking to the woman next to me because I had just been talking to Heather and Whitney, who were sitting behind me. There was a whole kerfuffle with seats. We'll talk about it another time. But I was sitting right in front of Heather and Whitney, and I had been talking to Heather and Whitney about the Corey Richins case. And then the woman next to me was like, wait, what? And I'm like, no, but the Corey Richins case. And then there was this, and then, the Maverick and Draper and whatever. And you can hear me talking in the background. My voice is resonant. You can hear me talking in the background to the woman sitting next to me while Brittany is singing A Whole New World or whatever with her and Angie. By the way, the people on the plane are already sat. Like, boarding is done. And Brittany's like walking down the aisle singing. Angie's not in her seat. Heather and Whitney are in their seats. I'm in my seat. And at the end, at the very, very end, Heather says, and Emily D. Baker, Brittany has no idea who the fuck I am. So then she's like swinging the phone around trying to find me. She has no idea who I am. And she's just like, afterwards, she's like, oh my God, that's a major shout out. You might be able to hear it in the reel. I don't know if it's at the end of it or not. She's like, that's a major shout out. That is a major shout out. I'm like, Brittany, I'm okay, girl. It's not needed. Like, I'm good. Ma'am, can we see the reel? Sure, let's just play it. I'm like, I'm kind of my own thing. I don't need a shout out. I'm fine. Our Delta flight crew was so incredibly gracious. None of them had any idea who the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City were. And it made all of this funnier. Our flight attendant was full gym bro. And it was amazing. No idea who any of them were. We had a lovely conversation about Element and the difference between the powder supplement and whether we like the chocolate one in the winter when it's hot, and about the Element cans. We talked about different kinds of creatine. Like, Whitney and I were just chatting about creatine. And she's like, the powder kind of hurts my stomach. I'm like, but you have to try the gummy ones. And she's like, I might try the gummy ones. And then Whitney is like full mom mode. And she's like, hey, did everyone take their emergency? She's like, I've got emergency. I've got zinc. She had all of the immune stuff. And I was like, oh, Whitney, that's amazing. She's like, I got hand lotion. I got breath mints. I've got emergency. I've got zinc. I've got has everything. So Whitney is handing out all of the, immune supporting everything to the other housewives on the flight, except for Brittany, who's all the way up in 1A against the bulkhead, which least favorite seat. Hilarious. And Whitney's like, do you want some? I'm like, I 100% will take zinc and everything. And that's when we started talking about creatine and Element and hydration and all of the things. Whitney had everything for everyone. Whitney was like, I got you guys. We're not getting sick. No one had a voice left on day 3, but Whitney's like, I got it. Heather's like, I'm going to have a glass of champagne. I'm going to close my eyes for 30 minutes and then not. It was hilarious. It was just hilarious. We had a very nice flight. Chronic shock, good shock art journal. Do they hate each other in real life or is all the beef fake? It depends. It depends on the cast and it depends on the beef. But the beef on Salt Lake is 100% real. The beef, they were on separate flights. They had all separated themselves out. A lot of the beef on Salt Lake is real. Yeah, for sure. Just for sure. Let's watch the reel real quick. I've got a few more questions that I need to answer. A lot of you are like, it's changing my username. YouTube has been doing that. I don't know why. Sometimes they're going between the handles and the this and that. Emily asked, did I get any of the tea on Meredith's meltdown? I did not. At one point, Heather was shaking the back of my seat as a joke, shaking the back of my seat saying, show the TikTok. And I was like, girl, I'm going to hurt my neck because I was just turned around so much talking to them sitting behind me. I'm like, I can't do that. Andrew asked, did EDB get new piercings? No, I switched my earrings in an ADHD moment of I'm running late, but I can't handle this anymore. So I switched I switched sides. So you see them a little bit more. We have to discuss the unicorn. It was such a thing. But yes, it was very funny. Heather was very funny. We had a very nice flight, but also I was like, I have a whole flight routine. I'm like, and I don't talk a lot in flight because look, Vegas is so dry. Flying is so dry. And it's one of the things that absolutely just wrecks my voice. So I was like, why was someone singing on the plane in the aisles? Content. For content. What was really funny is that the woman sitting next to me, very much an idea of who the housewives were, very much not an idea who I was. There were other law nerds on the plane. And so once I started talking, the other law nerds were just like, oh my God, Emily. I was like, hello, law nerds. They're like, hello. We're on this flight together with the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City and EDB. I'm like, this is the chaos that we need to go to BravoCon. This is the BravoCon chaos that we need. Let me pull this up real quick. Oh, not logged in. Well, that's going to make it more difficult. Hold on. Let me see if my other browser is logged in real quick. If it's not, we'll have to do this a different day because we have we have so much else going on. Let me see if I can get, because otherwise we have to log into literally everything. And I do not have, no, everything is logged out. Oh, you guys, I'll share it on social. We're going to have to do this a different day. We will though. I promise we'll come back to it, but I'll share it on social. I have started to share a little bit more on TikTok. I am trying to meet the law nerds where they are. I will share it, but I am trying to meet the law nerds where they are. And so for those of you that it is your favorite platform, I will be sharing the stuff that I share there and not. Laura, no, it's for content. Just 100% for content. Look, I don't consider they are acquaintances at best. We have met a handful of times and had pleasant conversation. These are acquaintances. There are some in the Bravo sphere that I consider, that I text with and chat with, not about the show, mostly about the stuff that I cover, that I very much enjoy. But everyone else I consider a friendly acquaintance. I'm not going to roll up here and be like, oh my God, we had 2 conversations, we're friends. A friendly acquaintance. They're familiar with what I do. I'm familiar with what they do. But it was just content. She was just filming content. Okay, can I do this without logging into Instagram? Let me see. Maybe I can. Maybe I can get onto Instagram without logging in. No, let's just see if I can. Ooh, it might let me do it without logging in. No, it won't. Oh, maybe. Nope. Let me see. I'll try one more time and see if I can do this without logging in. For all of you asking if I saw Jared at BravoCon, only in the panel, and he stood up and the entire audience booed him so voluminously with such force and intense energy that he immediately sat down. But I did not see him much. He was walking around. Let's see. Let's see if I can find it. I do not see what I'm looking for without being signed in because it just will not let me pull it up. Oh, wait, maybe. Oh, chat, we might be in luck. Hold on. We might be in luck. No. It will only give me the last few and none of them are the one I'm looking for. So I'm going to have to wait. So that I will have to wait on, but I will share it. I will share it on Instagram and on TikTok. I don't listen to Jeff Lewis because I'm not on Sirius XM. I saw him in passing, but no, we didn't. He had a lot going on at BravoCon, like a lot. Oh, the crowds at BravoCon do not hold back. There is no chill. I've got lots of video to share with you guys. We're going to do two separate streams about BravoCon. We've got lots. Why are people booing him? I think the Bravo sphere views him as a fuckboy. So it's related to the show. That's why. But a lot of you are like, Jared Osmond, this is Real Housewives of Salt Lake City tea. It is, if you are not watching the shows, I apologize. If you are watching the shows, you know what I mean. I successfully had not high body count hair, but I will say one of my high points at BravoCon is that Bronwyn liked my outfits, and it made me feel very much fashionable. I'm also friends with the fashionable couple on Instagram, and I got approval on the outfits, and I was like, I am not a fashionable person. I do not consider myself a fashion person. I consider myself trying to figure out how to express like who I am in clothing that aren't sweatpants. So it was a highlight of my BravoCon, and I was just like, sarcastic cat lady said, is he related? No, he is one of the Osmonds. Jared Osmond is one of the Osmonds for sure. Will we get an explanation of jury nullification? Do we need one today? Do we need one? If we need one, yes, it's when the jury looks at the evidence and goes, the evidence is there, but fuck that. So, Hope Florence said I would die if Bronwyn liked my outfit. Yes. I almost fell over. She and I had the loveliest conversation about a lot of the charity work that she does that she hasn't gotten a chance to talk about on the show. It was incredible. And so I will share more about that, but it's great. The black sparkly handbag, so funny story about that. I was at dinner with Adam and Jason, and we were exhausted. And after dinner, we were walking by a Vuitton in one of the casinos, and I was like, there are some new men's line things that launched, and a lot of them are green, and I'm loving green. I just wanted to peek in and see them because I can't tell online. I wanted to see them in person. And so I was like, maybe I'll just see them in person. And I walked in, and this is a direct recreation of what happened when I walked in. The gentleman walked up to us and was like, hey, we don't have any sales associates at the moment. We didn't have an appointment. I'm like, no, I just wanted to see some of the new things from the men's line. I wanted to take a look at the color. It's all good. And then he's like, when we have somebody, they can shop with you. You need an associate to really look or pull down anything and touch it and see it or whatever. And so I'm like, no, it's good. I just wanted to walk to the men's and look at some of the new men's line in green because I wanted to see the color in person. Looks gorgeous. Look, I live out in the country. There is no just strolling by a Vuitton on my way home from dinner. That's never happening. It's like, oh my God, the baby cows are bigger. That's what my way home from dinner is like. Oh my God, they got a new horse. Love. So a sales associate walks up. We are walking in and he's like, hey, I'm happy to help. I'm like, yeah, I just wanted to look at some of the men's stuff. And then I look at a shelf that had a couple different bags on it. And I went, literally, what is that? Like, what is that? It was black and it had silver feet and chains. I was like, what is that? And he's like, this is brand new. I'm like, I have never seen that. I have never seen that. What is that? And he pulls it down and he hands it to me. And I went, like, literally heart eyes. I'm like, oh my God. Where did this magic little slice of heaven come from? All black bag, silver chains. It's like, this is like me in a bag. I'm like, this bag is just, it's me in a bag. I will bring, the bag is across the house. I will bring the bag next stream. I'll share the bag on social. This is me in a bag. And I was like, you said you got it today. He's like, we got it today. I'll share a picture of the bag. I'm like, you said you got it today. He's like, we got it today. I'm like, what do you mean you got it today? And he's like, it just released today. I was like, it what? It just released today. I'm like, so no one has this bag. And he's like, this is the only one we have here. I have it in my photos. Let me see if I can pull up a photo. I'm like, so this, because Nick Vile texted me and was like, hey, are you here? And I'm like, I got distracted. And I texted him a picture of the bag. I was like, I got delayed. I was like, I got delayed. I'll be back. And so then I asked, so you guys just got it today. The manager comes over and is like, actually, because the manager has now 100% clocked me and probably my account. And is like, there are none of these in store in the US yet. We are the only store in the US that has this bag. And I was like, well, fuck. Say just box. Let's put it in a box. We'll figure it out later. Merry Christmas to me. Put it in a box. Dr. B's like, so Christmas is done. I'm like, Christmas is over. I'm done. Just give it to me. Just give it to me. That's my ridiculousness. So we bought it. This is said bag. I have the chain going a little bit more sideways, but this is said bag with the chain and the black. It's an Alma. The Alma bag. This is way too much Louis Vuitton, probably, that any of you need to know. The Alma bag was the very first Louis Vuitton bag that I purchased. I love an Alma bag. I only have one. It's a little larger than the BB. And this Alma is not the vernis leather. Like it's a shiny leather, but it is not a super stiff leather. And the little feet and the studs, I fell over and died. And then I was revived with a glass of champagne. And then this was my purse. And then this happened. This is my BravoCon purse. You will never see me at an event again without this purse. This is it. This is just it. The chain sent me. It's just like, ugh. So this is the new Alma. It fits me crossbody well, which I am not a petite human. So finding a bag that fits against my body well, I was just like, this is literally everything. And then Jason is just like, I mean, I'm not going to tell you no. I'm like, what do you think? He's like, I think that bag looks like you in a bag. I was like, this is me in a bag. Black and studded. A little bit of sparkle and some chains. So Alma was my very first bag that I ever purchased. My grandmother's name is Alma. It is one of the reasons that the Alma bag was the first bag that I purchased from Vuitton. And I purchased my first Alma bag before my 10-year high school reunion after I'd gotten hired as a DA. I am a DA. It was my DA, like, adult bag. And I love it. And I still have it and I love it. But this one zips all the way down to the bottom. It fit all of my glasses because I am a lady of a certain age. I need to be able to fit my reading glasses and my sunglasses and my everyday glasses into my bag. So anyway, ended up with the bag. That is the bag. Got very distracted while I was in Vegas and then was running late to things because I was just like, my bag. So I will share. But anyway, ended up shopping while in Vegas. It was delightful. Got many compliments on the new bag. It was very funny just rolling in back to the hotel with my bag of bag. Everybody's like, let's see the bag. Let's see the bag. Anyway, it's a delight. I'm so excited. It was just this is my new event bag. It's going to go to every event with me. If you see me at an event, that will be the bag. Because that is now the bag for life. Peggy said, did you get worried someone will steal it? No, though I did see multiple housewives. It's not at the price point where I'm going to get targeted. Also, I live in the middle of the country in Tennessee. But in Vegas, this is not the level of price that someone is going to steal. These will be available in stores, I am sure. It is just that it was the first to hit stores, and that was exciting for me. But no, it is not. I am not spending the type of money on bags that are bags that somebody would target because the resale is so high. People will be able to find this. But I saw that Sutton's house was broken into while she was at BravoCon. Kathy Hilton, I think's house was broken into while she was at BravoCon. Just wild. Just wild. Oh my God. I love how many of you are like, no, Alma was my grandmother too. Yeah, it's not. It just was. It will be available. It just was the first in store, but it will be available. So anyway, it is not a bag that there will never be others. It was just the first one to land. So there's a few more questions I have that I wanted to, or questions that you have that I wanted to answer. And then I'm going to bounce because my kiddo has stuff at school tonight. I do not know what time stuff is going down tomorrow in the civil case. I need to look at my calendar. If I can't cover it, I might cover it early next week. Lindsay said the Birkins are what they're going for. I do not own a Birkin. I do not know if I ever will. So it's one of those things that A, I'm a crossbody bag kind of girl, and B, it gets heavy. I love seeing them, but that bag feels like me. It's just a vibe. So it works for me. Let's see. Maria asked what would happen if a defendant answers no to any of the questions they asked when ensuring that they can accept a plea. Is the plea rejected? The plea's either rejected if the court says, like, do you understand? The defendant says no. But sometimes it's just that the court or the attorneys will take more time in explaining to the defendant. So if they say, have you had enough time to talk to your attorney? And the defendant said no, the judge wouldn't just say, we're done. The judge would say, okay, let me give you 10 more minutes to go talk to your attorney. Would that be enough time? And then if they say yes, they'll let them go talk to their attorney. So it will normally be working with the defendant, but they also need to make sure that the defendant is competent to take a plea, is not under any, the altering effects of any medication, etc. So that, let's see. Coco B said, I think we got to that. So what is the point if everything comes in? I think it's so he can testify. I think it's laying the groundwork. So if he chooses to testify, it's easier. Angela, thank you for this. Angela said that on the federal art case, he got 37 months for the art fraud, 3 years of supervised release, and $475,000 in restitution. I don't know if he's going to pay that if he's in custody for all of this. Big fan of justice says maybe he'll say it was an accident. It's possible. It's very possible that he will say that this was an accidental death and that the crime was lying to the police and moving the body. We might end up seeing some of that in the David case, right? That's what law enforcement said. They need to make sure that it's not just an accidental death, because then what you have is the crime with regard to improper disposal of a body. Lovely, this was a great question. Lovely said no right to appeal. How can that be lawful and constitutionally correct? Because it is a plea deal. So they get to choose the plea deal. So that is how they get to waive their right for appeal as part of the plea. If they want the right to appeal, then they can go through the trial, if that makes sense. Let's see. Tammy, I love a good Kate Spade. I also love the outlet. When I see a Kate Spade outlet, I will always peek in and find something very cute, very of the moment. I like the different shape bags and purses. I also my OG love of work bags was Coach. Watching the resurgence of the Coach bag has been so much fun, but also their outlet online is so good. If you're doing Black Friday shopping, the outlet online. Also, I think Aura Ring's probably going to have a big Black Friday. If I see deals that I love, I'll share them with you guys in the app, whether or not they are affiliates. Most of them probably won't be, but if I see stuff that I love, especially some of the more expensive stuff that I love, I will share that with you. And then at the end, I wanted to I saw a lot of your well wishes and hashtags and thoughts for Nate the lawyer yesterday. And I apologize for this. Yesterday, I saw a super chat that just caught me completely off guard about him having surgery. I had not been aware yesterday when I saw that super chat. I was like, wait, what? and I wanted to look into it after stream without just pulling it up and not having enough information. So when I saw that super chat yesterday, I went online and looked. I did not realize that it looks like all of this went down while I was traveling. That Nate, the lawyer, had surgery on a brain tumor yesterday, came out of surgery yesterday, and is now beginning the healing process. I had no idea. So law nerds, all of you that sent all the well wishes, I thank you for letting me know. I did not know. When I say I'm not online when I'm traveling, I'm truly not, and I just hadn't seen. So thank you for that super chat yesterday, because I did not know. So Casey Cat, thank you for that. I've also not been in like all of my workspaces. It has been like just doing all the thing. So it seems like it was incredibly sudden. I had no idea. So I am sending all of the love and thoughts to Nate. You guys know Nate the lawyer on YouTube, and to his wife and kids. It has to be an incredibly scary situation to need emergency surgery. He posted a video about it on his channel. I will let you guys go watch that video on his channel, because while he is recovering, having views on his channel will help it stay afloat. So he has a video about going into emergency surgery. If you want to go watch that on his channel, I will link that video down below, because one of the things that you can do for him is to watch that video on his channel. But seems very sudden. Nate has been a part of the law community online since, well, as long as I knew that there was a law community online. A lot of you are saying I had no idea. I had no idea either. So thank you again for the super chat, because I was able to go look, because I was just like, wait, what? So sometimes when I don't pull things up, it's because I need a second to process information. Seemed very sudden, but of course, I know the law nerds have been wishing him well in the chat today, and I'm glad I had a chance to go and take a look at it. But again, when I'm underwater at events, truly underwater, so I apologize for that. I had no idea. So for all of you that want to look at that, we will link that video where he talks about going in for emergency surgery. I know the last time he and I chatted, we were chatting about his wife's surgery, because his wife has been going through cancer treatment. So all the thoughts and love to his family, prayers for those of you that pray. It's just got to be a stunning and unexpected journey for them. So I'm very, very glad he came through surgery well. A number of you are saying in the chat that there are fake GoFundMes. I am not going to share anything unless I get it directly from him or from his immediate friends. So I am not going to share anything other than his video. So you guys can go take a watch of that and support his channel in that way. So again, it's just wild. So I'm sure his family is going to need support at some time. And when they choose to do that, I'll share that with you too. But for now, going in and sharing some love on that video will be, I think, helpful. So, law nerds, you are an incredible community. Thank you. We will be talking more about the Brian Walshe case, but today I've got to go do senior parent things, which is always wild to me. I can't believe it. I can't believe that it's senior year. With that, you guys are the best. I will talk to you soon. I will keep you posted in the app. If you don't have the app and you're like, Emily, how do I not know about things? Get the app. If you are worried about whether or not you're getting app notifications, check the settings in your app and your phone. I have found a lot of the times if your phone is set to delivering them in kind of groups, you won't always see them drop down right away. So make sure that your app is open and up to date, and you will get notified. And then I will talk to Team Baker. A lot of the law nerds are interested in this trial, so we'll see. I'll see what we can do. And I'm interested too, you guys. I got to be honest. It's a lot undertaking a trial at the end of the year, but I'll talk to Team Baker. I'll talk to the mods. We'll see what we can do. You guys are the best. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a law nerd. I will talk to you soon. All right, law nerds. I'll see you soon. What did I say? Get the Law Nerd app. Go get the Law Nerd app. And if you have not checked out the black on black color of my imagination and soul over on the Law Nerd shop. Do so before it's gone. This is our last drop of the year. So do not worry. There's not something else coming up this year. New drops in 2026. But for now, what's in the shop is what's in the shop. I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you for being here. You're the best. Okay, bye. Thank you for joining me. Make sure you don't miss a live stream or any of the updates on the cases that you care about most with the Law Nerd app at lawnerdapp.com. It's a free download on iOS and Android so I can keep you in the loop, because you never know when something's going to pop off. Thanks for being here, and thanks for being a Law Nerd.